I'm awfully sorry about that, Mum. OK, time to find out who is the brand new hot and happening Blue Peter presenter with the other top team.
Today. We've made it. We've reached the top of the totalizer. The actual number of packages received is 597,344. So we haven't just reached it, we've smashed it. So thank you to everybody who's helped us with the Pieces of 8 appeal. It's brilliant news.
Yeah, great news. With the treasure we've been sent, we'll be able to buy brand new lifeboats like this, the Atlantic 75. It's the very latest design of inshore lifeboat with huge outboard engines to help it power through the waves. With one of these, you're the Nigel Mansell of the water and can reach people in trouble very quickly.
I'm just cleaning my map. I've got all tinsel over it. So now we can promise the RNLI the money to replace all 6 Blue Peter lifeboats. The one that's probably most urgently needed is here in St Agnes in North Cornwall, where the old Blue Peter 4 has already been taken out of service. So a new Blue Peter 4 will be there soon. Another boat that's urgently needed is in North Berwick in Scotland. So I'll put a boat there because that'll be there very soon. And the newest Blue Peter station is going to be at Cleethorpes. And they very soon will be getting a brand new Blue Peter 6.
And after that, Atlantic 75s will go all the way to Portaferry in Northern Ireland. And of course to Beaumaris, where we were the other week. And down here in Littlehampton in Sussex, where Blue Peter 1 needs to be replaced. So with all these new boats on station, many more lives will be saved.
The packages of treasure we've received so far have not only bought 6 lifeboats, they've also raised enough money to buy complete sets of equipment for the boats. You don't just need a lifeboat to rescue people in trouble at sea. The crews need to be equipped with all kinds of gear to do the job properly. First and foremost, life jackets. There's also crash helmets. Thermal suits keeps you warm in the freezing weather, and I can vouch they do work. Dry suits to stop the water getting in, keep you warm. Stretcher, so that if there's any casualties, they can be put onto this, strapped in well. And if they have trouble looking for the casualties, they can find them with these flares here. These are white ones, and these are red ones, which are to be let off if the boat's actually in trouble. Some accessories here, a whole range of accessories, including the torch. Well, all these things cost money, and now that we can be sure that our crews will have enough equipment to last them. It's a great achievement. Thank you to everyone who has helped. It's not our only news today, though. Later on, we have another exciting announcement to make.
Oh, yes, we have. But we're going to make you wait just a little bit longer for that. But first, to celebrate the success of the appeal, we've a whole chorus of lifeboat men and their friends ready to perform. From Norfolk, here are the Sheringham Shanty Men with a traditional song of the sea, the Mingulay Boat Song.
Hey, home, boys, let her go, boys. Bring her head round into the weather. Hey, home, boys, let her go, boys. Sailing home to Mingulay. What care we how white the midge is? What care we for the wind and the weather? Hey, home, boys, we'll weigh anchor ere the sun sets for Mingulay. Hey, home, boys, let her go, boys. Bring her head round into the weather. Hey, home, boys, let her go, boys. Sailing home to Mingulay.
Oh, thanks very much, lads. That really is the way, isn't it, to celebrate 500,000 packages. But this isn't the end of the Pieces of 8 appeal, so don't worry if you haven't sent us your treasure yet. Because we've reached the top of the totaliser so quickly, we'll be announcing how we hope to do even more later on in the programme.
Oh, come on then, Bonnie. Well, I've been scaling the heights recently as well, and the other day I went to the City of London to climb sky high. I'm standing next to the tallest bank of escalators in the world. It's over 50 metres high, 10 metres higher than Nelson's column. This is the first of 16 escalators. It takes 2 minutes to get right to the top. The whole thing cost £46 million and was designed with the help of robots, well, computers anyway. Designing buildings has always relied on hundreds of architects' sketches. Nowadays, there's a better way, which allows architects to draw up plans in 3D. Computers can show what a building will look like from every possible angle before a single brick is laid. It's an amazing piece of engineering, and the whole thing is really heavy. It weighs 152 tons, but it's only suspended by 4 rods, so it seems like the escalator is just sort of standing there on its own, as if by magic. It wasn't all that long ago that futuristic moving staircases were being tried out for the first time on the London Underground. This is Earl's Court Station, where the first underground escalator opened over 80 years ago. People were petrified of it. So the management came up with a really stupid idea. To show it was safe, they paid a man with a wooden leg to go up and down on it all day long. It didn't work. People thought he'd lost his leg in an escalator accident. The escalator was invented in 1891 by an American called Jesse W. Reno. It had no steps, so passengers had to lean forward on the way up, a bit like uphill skiing. Artists have often dreamed of spiral staircases stretching up to the sky, like in William Blake's painting, Jacob's Ladder. At the beginning of the century, plans were drawn up to build a spiral escalator on the London Underground. Remains of one were found in a disused shaft under layers of concrete at Holloway Road Station in North London. It would probably never have worked. Trainee engineer Martin Greenwood made the discovery earlier this year. How did you find it in the first place?
Well, there were rumours that there was a spiral escalator on the system, but when we saw it, we wasn't quite sure, and we called in someone from the LT Museum to look at it, who identified it as the spiral escalator. I'm very proud. It makes me feel very good that I've uncovered a piece of history like this on the London Underground system.
Now, after being forgotten for the last 85 years, spiral escalators are making a comeback in Tokyo, San Francisco and Hong Kong. This time, they work. And Britain's been keeping up with the technology. London's Angel Tube Station is breaking records. At over 60 metres long, these are the longest escalators in Western Europe. And I hope by the time I finally reach the bottom, the trains are still running. Escalators are like icebergs. You only see a tiny bit of what's really there. Getting inside the workings of an escalator is like being inside a giant bicycle that's in need of a good oiling. Huge cogs and chains turn, it's dark, and there's very little room to breathe. It's a world that's completely invisible to people on the surface. Building and repairing the first escalators used to be a dirty, dangerous job. Workers were paid low wages and spent long hours in terrible conditions. I boldly went where no commuter had gone before and met some present-day workers. So what's going on here then? I think I've got a bit lost. I'm sure this is not the way out. Can I come and join you? Question I'm burning to ask you. I always wonder, every time I travel up on the escalator, it sort of disappears at the top and at the bottom it comes from nowhere.
Yeah,
how does it work?
Well, actually, seeing it exposed like this, it gives you a good idea. What it does, it actually runs along this surface here. The step has wheels on, and it actually runs along the track surface here, runs over that sprocket there, and returns underneath, and actually runs just below your feet.
The escalator is quite a simple machine, really. When you think, if you think of a big elastic band that just goes round and round and round, this is basically that, but instead of elastic band, we have a chain which pulls the steps round along these big sprockets here and back underneath, and they come back up round the bottom.
Well, I've nearly reached the top, but if you're like me and you're scared of heights, the view down there is pretty daunting. If, on the other hand, you love being on top of the world, it's a spectacular view.
You spent all day going up and down in escalators.
Yep, and I did no shopping.
Well, that's a first, isn't it? At this time of the year, wildlife hospitals can be very busy. Looking after wild animals who've been injured while searching for food that's difficult to find. St Tiggywinkles Hospital is famous for looking after hedgehogs, but they also take in lots of foxes, and Les Stocker, who runs it, has just written a book about his special patients. This morning I met him in the garden with two of his friends. You are gorgeous. Well, welcome along to the Blue Peter Garden, Les and Misty. And who's this over here?
This is David.
Now, they're incredibly tame.
Well,
Why
they
is
are.
that?
It's because they've been hand-reared. They're not like foxes are normally, but they've been hand-reared, so they've ended up tame, can't be released.
How many foxes do you have into St Tiggywinkles that are injured?
We get about 200 a year.
What are the most common injuries?
It's usually car accidents. They haven't got, some have got boats in it, some haven't, so we mostly come in with broken legs, things like that.
What should you do if you find an injured animal on the side of the road?
Well, first off, call an adult, cover the animal up. If it's a fox, it's likely to bite, so don't try and stroke it. Misty is the exception, she's wonderful, but and then call a wildlife hospital and they'll come out and rescue the fox for you.
You've put most of that information in your book, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
And if you're interested in Les's book, it's called The Complete Fox. It's out now and it's priced just £9.99, but of course you could always borrow it from your library. They are beautiful. Oh, no.
Well, the garden's pretty full today. There's an orchestra here too, of musical instruments that can play without anybody touching them. So how do harps like these play on their own? Well, the answer is they don't. The wind plays them. If there's a light wind blowing, that will make the long strings vibrate, creating the low notes. And if there's a stronger, heavier wind, well, that makes the shorter strings vibrate, creating the top end, the high notes. Wind harps go back thousands of years and were very fashionable about 200 years ago. They were placed near windows or in gardens, but without amplifiers could hardly be heard. Instead, they created a sort of ghostly sound effect. These work nowadays just like an electric guitar. There's a pickup on the strings which takes the sound along the wires to a mixing desk, where Roger Winfield, who created them, is busy mixing away. It's sounding good, Roger?
Nice breeze today, it's great.
So if you want to see these marvellous harps in action, Roger will be doing a tour around the UK, but he'll be doing it in the spring when it's a little warmer.
Now, do these noises sound more familiar? The sort of music you might hear in a science fiction film, perhaps. The instrument that's making them is called a theremin, after its Russian inventor, Leon Theremin, who died last month. It was invented about 70 years ago and was used to create spooky sounds in loads of old films, but there are only a couple left in Britain today. Like a wind harp, you don't touch the theremin to play it. So you see, I'm not just waving my arms around in thin air for nothing. And here to tell me what it's all about is owner Richard Cole. Hello, welcome to Blue Peter. Okay then, what's this all about?
Well, this is the world's first electronic musical instrument. And when I bring this hand nearer to this aerial, it interrupts an electric field, and that makes the pitch get higher and higher. And as I lower my left hand into the loop, it gets quieter.
Oh, no, that's what I should have done to make it a bit quieter. Okay, give me a demonstration. Can you play a musical tune?
Well, it's coming up to Christmas, so let's see if I can manage a little bit of a Christmas carol.
Okay, take it away. Marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. So what's so special about this?
Well, as I said, this is the first electronic musical instrument ever, and from this have grown all the electronic organs and synthesizers we hear so much about these days.
Well, come on, play us out then and give me another tune.
Right.
Mad. Well, now for our other big news. I've been on Blue Peter now for nearly 5 years, that long. And in the new year, I shall be moving on to present other television programmes. Someone will be replacing me. A hard job, I know, but I think we've found someone that, given time, could keep up my great sporting tradition, among other things. So before we reveal who the candidate for the 20th Blue Peter presenter is, Anthea and Diane are going to bring in a couple of clues. A leak.
Yes.
Right, he's a gardener. No? Oh, he's very handy with, you know, do it yourself?
Yes, John.
Oh, but he's accident prone.
Oh, for goodness sake, John.
Well, if you're still none the wiser after John's odd clues, because they were nothing to do with Diane and myself, perhaps this 6-year-old episode of Children's Ward will help.
Said anything? When you'll be going home?
Yeah, in a bar for now, it's a good riddance.
Must be rotten strapped to this thing all day.
You should try it, nobody gives a stuff.
Is Dean coming in today?
Do you want to know for?
Just asking.
For your information, he's sick and tired of you pouncing about in front of him.
I do not.
He can't stand the sight of you.
You know, it's a wonder you have any mates the way you carry on.
Well, listen to it, Miss Prim and Proper. But let me tell you something. That tattoo on your arm should have been splattered across your face.
Yeah, and Sonny should shove that splint right down your gob.
Do you recognise him? It's a younger Billy Ryan, the electrician from Children's Ward. But in real life, he's Tim Vincent from Wrexham in Wales.
And here he is on the bucking bronco. Ooh. So, Tim, you're not really that nasty in real life, are you?
Well, that's only acting.
Oh, gosh, that's a relief to hear. Well, to be a Blue Peter presenter, it helps to be fit. And to prove his fitness, Tim had to pass the bucking bronco test, I should say, in his audition. OK, Tim, you had a taster in the audition. Let's see what you can do now.
It's not too bad, actually, because I used to have a horse when I was younger, so I'm used to it by now.
All right, well, I think we should go a little bit faster. Come on.
Right,
crank it up.
Get me off, actually.
Let's see how fast you're going. Whoa! Good try, good try.
Come on, Tim, pull yourself together. Come over here.
I'm a little bit dizzy.
Because you've got one more thing to do. Now, to be a Blue Peter presenter, just like in the legend of King Arthur, you have to be able to take this magic sword out of its stone. Just to tell you one thing that's very important.
Sure, yeah.
On Monday, Gary Taylor, who's Britain's strongest man, couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it?
No. Now, we've all done it, so see what you can do.
Well, I've been working out in the gym. I've had my porridge. I think I can have a go.
Okay. You can see he's tense face there. He's pulling very, very hard.
Yes!
That's not bad.
Excellent.
Come and sit down.
Well, that
Join
proves
the
it.
team.
Yes.
Welcome to Blue Peter.
Oh. OK, there's only one thing now. That officially
You're not
makes
funny.
it the seal of approval.
You can actually put a badge on.
Yeah, we'll get the Blue Peter badge put in there. Oh, come on.
It's nearly there.
There you go, congratulations.
There you go.
Thanks
You're
very
an
much.
official member.
Well, I bet you've not
Welcome
done anything
aboard.
like this on Children's Ward, have you?
Not quite as important as this. No, I haven't, no.
Well, when Tim joined Children's Ward in the very first series, he was 15 years old. Billy has become a regular in the programme as the hospital's electrician.
Telephone number, no job too small. I'm in business, Keeley.
Never mind in business, you're in bother. We haven't got that sort of money. How much did it cost?
We'll talk about that later. Come on, get in. This is the future, Keely. Our future.
Have you borrowed it off your mum?
It's an investment. Come on, I'm not going to get very far without transport, am I?
I want to know where the money came from.
We'll talk about that later.
We haven't even discussed this or anything.
It was meant to be a surprise.
It's a surprise, all right.
It was a really good series. What was it like acting on Children's Ward?
Well, because we've been filming it 6 years, obviously everyone knew each other quite well, so we were like a family almost.
Oh, it's just like Blue Peter.
Is it?
Yeah,
we're like a big family.
Just the same, very soon. Well, we've been chatting to Tim's mum, and she's sent us quite a few photos of Tim when he was younger. Before he became an actor, and even at the age of 2, he was quite a natural in front of the camera.
I don't actually recognise that. That's not me, that's a stunt.
It is. Don't try and get out of it. Even in fancy dress, his acting and other talents were developed when he joined his local Overton Cub Scout group, where he was Cub Scout of the Year for 2 years on the trot.
I'm actually the one holding the teddy there.
Tim's fond of animals, from bears to dogs to horses, and he's always been in on the action.
Certainly have.
To be thrown in at the deep end and survive is a must for a Blue Peter presenter, and at all times, Tim's been known to keep his cool. I love those photographs.
I'm going to certainly have to have a word with my mum about those.
Oh, well, that was something I was about to introduce.
Best Blue Peter tradition.
Oh, and the other one's
The other one's gone as well.
That's Carrie, and the other one that went
That was Carrie and that was Okie.
Just said a quick hello. Well, you've done a lot of things, but what are you looking forward to in the programme?
I think what I'm looking forward to the most the action films, as long as they don't actually break any legs or arms.
You've got 2 legs, so we'll
Don't worry.
So you've got 2
work on
chances.
it. 2 chances.
One at a time.
There'll be plenty of films, don't worry.
Right, great.
Well, it's excellent to have 2 good bits of news in one show. And of course, John, we will miss you. You know that, don't you? We want you to go. Oh. But you're going to be with us for 2 more weeks, and we're going to make sure we give you a terrific send-off.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, that will be a very good programme indeed. Well, we never expected to reach the target of the Pieces of 8 appeal quite as quickly. But because so many packages have come in so fast, we think we can now go on to provide another Blue Peter lifeboat. And this will be a very special one indeed. We want to buy a Trent, a brand new lifeboat design. If you saw our 3D lifeboat film a couple of weeks ago, then you saw a Trent. It's the latest design of all-weather lifeboat. 14 metres long, it can be put to sea in any conditions. It'll be the first big all-weather lifeboat to bear the name Blue Peter. It'll become Blue Peter 7 and will be based at Fishguard in Wales, a very busy lifeboat station.
The Trent-class lifeboat on its own will cost more than all our other 6 lifeboats put together, but we're sure you can help us provide it. It means that it's time for a brand new totaliser. Okay, Tim, do the honours. Come on, give it a good old pull.
Well, the old total is flashing away at the bottom, if we can just about see it. Passing the 600,000, 700,000, 800,000. That's a very long way to the top. We need 1,500,000 packages of treasure. And that can mean anything like these items here. Now, this has been come from all the children in Sheringham and was given to us today by the Shanty Men. And there's some old knives, if I can just sit down here. There's a box full of those which will come in handy. We also have some cups. There's another one down the bottom, which again we can use. And even some dinky cars. And that one there looks just like mine, except that's in better condition. We've also got a music stand and even some costume jewellery.
Oh, that looks nice. Well, decide what you can let us have, then wrap it up well in something no bigger than a shoebox. Make sure it doesn't weigh more than about 750 grams, and that's the same as a bag of 6 apples. Then address it to Blue Peter Appeal, Free Post, Royal Mail Bournemouth, BH1 1BP. That's Blue Peter Appeal, Free Post, Royal Mail Bournemouth, BH1 1BP. It's a free post address, which means you don't need to use a stamp. And thanks again to the Royal Mail for all the help they're giving the Pieces of 8 appeal.
Now, I've been watching the Pieces of 8 appeal, and I've been amazed by what people have found to send in. If you've sent something in already, why not have another look around or ask your friends and family if they've any treasure to give? If we can add a special boat like the Trent to the Blue Peter fleet of lifeboats, even more lives will be saved.
So keep sending in that treasure, please. Now, before we go, it's time for the second candle on our Advent crown to be lit. Ah, is it lit? Let's have a look. There. Isn't that wonderful? Well, after today, there are just 2 more Blue Peters before Christmas. And next Thursday will be our special Christmas show. We'll have carol singing and our pantomime will slap my wife. And we'll be showing many of the homemade cards that we receive.
Right, come on then, okay, don't be
It's
rude
time
this
to say
time. Say
hello.
hello to Tim. There you go. There you go.
Beauty.
Now, he's the quiet one.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's happy.
Perfect.
Oh,
She's happy.
On Monday, we'll have some more new presenters, this time of the puppet variety.
And I'll be making this special Santa. And I've been cooking a lovely meal for King Henry VIII.
And I'm King Henry VIII.
And there'll be a look behind the scenes at my first Blue Peter experience, rehearsing for our Christmas panto, Aladdin.
He survived. But before we go, the Sheringham Shanty Men will sing another song, The Mermaids. We'll all see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
It was Friday morn when we set sail, and we were not far from the land. When the captain espied a mermaid so fair, with a comb and a glass in her hand, while the raging seas do roar, and the stormy winds do blow, and we jolly sailor boys are ripping at the top.